Today I am training with Roger. Roger is a brown belt. I'm currently a purple belt. Roger has been a brown belt since I was a blue belt, and in the entire school, he is one of the best at escaping back control. So let's see how my back control does against his back control escapes, and we're gonna learn some very good lessons. Let's get to rolling. All right, so today's training style is actually what Mikey Musumeci does. So we are focused on back control and back attacks. And this first lesson isn't going to last very long. That's what he said. All right, look at this. Ankle lock. Now you might be saying, Crystal, what are you doing crossing your legs like that? Doesn't that set you up? Well, know the rules, break the rules, and then refine breaking the rules. So this foot cross works if you are like above their waist. But, so I thought it was safe. However, I need to account for the distance that they can jump up and grab my legs. So there's two solutions. One, you can cross your feet on the side like this, or you can go higher, like 5 inches below the nipple. But one thing to keep in mind is you always want to have that foot pressing against their hip. That way they can't bridge up and roll into you. So pay attention to where your feet are crossed and make sure you continuously have more downward pressure to help you maintain back control. Now let's go over some back control principles. That way, with these tips, you can definitely control the back of a white belt, blue belt, maybe some purple belts. All right, first, this bottom leg right here acts as a, what do you call it? Like a hurdle. Like you want that vertical. I see a lot of people get lazy with that leg, and what happens is their hips go over that leg and your hurdle isn't a hurdle, you're leaving the door open. Second, that top foot is pushing down. This helps you defend against them bridging up and putting all their weight on you and driving their head into you, which makes it easier for them to escape. Next, stab and grab, baby. You want to make sure that your choking hand is being covered by your secondary hand. That way, if they strip away one hand, the choking hand remains. You don't want them stripping off the choking hand first. Next, look at how I'm hugging him. You want to hug him with T-Rex arms and make sure your armpit is over their shoulder. That way you are extremely close and controlling, and you want to nuzzle right in their neck. This is a very good back control position. If you remember all of these, I guarantee you it's going to feel 100% more horrible for the person. Now here I have a Kimura grip, and one excellent transition that I'm going for here is to go for the back triangle. And I set it up almost correctly. However, one key thing that I missed doing is I missed extending my hips in order to make his body straight, in order for me to be able to back heel my top leg to then get the triangle. So because he was able to bend his torso, he was able to turn into me. Typically what you want to do is you want to, not typically, what I should have done is have that, that's why that extension is so important, because when somebody is extended and their body is straight, it makes it very hard for them to move because you have better control over them. So that's why getting your chin above their arm and getting that and then extending is such a key step to getting that rear triangle, which is a type of back control that is like a superior back control. So I'm definitely going to be playing with that one more. here we go again. Now I get the seatbelt, I have good leg positioning. Now notice how Roger is immediately trying to loosen the seatbelt, you know, like a naughty 8-year-old. So once the seatbelt is loosened and I feel him escaping, I want to transition to mount. And typically what happens when I do this is I end up getting the back again, but Roger ends up escaping. Now look at my foot position. See how my legs are crossed? Typically, somebody will turn over and I'll either get mount or back again. But how does Roger end up escaping these crossed feet? Did you see it? This is so good. So feet are crossed. If he rotates, I should have him. But do you see how he swivels his hips and then drives his bottom leg in to get back down to the ground? Because once he's able to get his hips touching the ground, then he's gotten out of the lock, out of the crossed feet. And oh, bonus, can you spot the armbar opening here? There's definitely an armbar there if you race to underhook that arm. Now, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you know, asking for a friend. Let's just imagine that you have the back control of a wily brown belt or upper belt, and he's just very good, or she, that person is extremely good at escaping and seems to always get over your bottom leg. Look at this belly out transition. From here, I'm going for a street choke, which is a self-defense type of choke with the knee into the back. That way it gives you mobility to exit the situation if things get shifty. If you put your hooks in during a self-defense situation, then you have less mobility because your legs are inside their thighs as opposed to on the ground. So that's why it's better for self-control or self-defense. Now speaking of control, so here we are. Let's say they beat that bottom leg. Do you see what he did there? Do you see how he shoved that leg down? He shoved down the hurdle. That way he could get over the hurdle. Now that he's gotten over the hurdle, I backstepped and bellied out. Now we know that the belly out is a success. Now let's test the repeatability and finishing the choke. Now here we see the before of what we just watched, the belly out to the knee in the back street choke. And you can see here he is turning into me. And I am following him to get him to the ground. And from here, I can feel him rotating towards me. So let's try this again, because we have success with the belly out against an upper belt. So we want to make sure that we can do repeatability and see if we can make this a little better. So here I do the belly out. I have the rear naked choke in. I have like the grip in around his neck, even though we're a bit out of frame. And we end up finishing. The dog agrees. Now let's see, upgrade 1. Do you see how I put my hand on my bicep? Before I had his bottom arm hook on his wrist. And then the second upgrade is before I stayed on my knees, This time I tripoded up, and this helped direct the pressure downward. And that does two things. That increases the control, and then that also tightens up the choke and puts pressure on the neck to finish the choke. Lesson number 6. Now, let's try something new. If you noticed, throughout all of the successful escape attempts, well, I won't even say attempts, escapes, period, you'll notice the same type of pattern, how he gets over the leg, but here I try something different, and I'm able to hold back control for longer. So my left leg, the one that is vertical, he always seemed to get over that one. So here I hipped out and hooked that leg. That way I stopped the escape from that side. Now from here, it would probably be great to transition to a body triangle. So that would probably be helpful, because you can't stay here for long, because I'm going to show you what can happen with an upper belt in lesson number 7. Lesson number 7. This is one of the most interesting lessons, because Roger manages to escape back control and get mount, which is amazing. Okay, let's figure out what happened here, because we can use this. There are principles at play here that we can all learn from. Now look at the knee height race. If I get my leg over his knee, I get mount. If he gets his knee higher, then he gets this butterfly hook, which then controls my ability to put my left leg over his torso. In addition to that, look what he did with his bottom leg. This bottom leg right here, getting the bottom knee to the hip is what is the difference between rolling into somebody's closed guard and rolling on top to mount. You're basically doing a quick guard pass, a knee over guard pass, by getting that butterfly hook and shoving that leg to get your butt to the ground. That way you can use your knee to block their hip. In this case, it's almost like hip to hip, his knee is to my butt, but pun intended. This is like principles at work. It's like turning a back escape into a side control step over mount, or like knee cut across from a butterfly hook, if you pick up what I'm laying down. Here we have some bonus material for you. You see how he gets the double underhooks and then gets the guard pass? Here is a side control escape. See, we get the knee in. I come up on a single, get the knee across, threatening a double leg. He hops over. I'm able to get my knee inside and get to a single leg X, and then go into transition to an inside heel hook from single leg X. I get this position a lot, so if you're struggling with side control escapes, try getting that transition. Here, I'm trying to come up to get turtle, but notice how he has that hook, and that's what stops me from taking his back in like a side turtle, back turtle position. It's so interesting how hooks can get you so much leverage to control the other person. And here's another clip from when I am going for from here you can, if you have a Kimura grip, you can get an arm bar. This is also the setup for that back triangle. And that's the end of the round, so thank you so much for watching. I have my MMA fight coming up, which I'm super excited for. So yeah, it's a Saturday. We're gonna we're gonna take a shower and go to bed. Because you see my finger tape? Because I love a good night's sleep. All right, until next time, love you. Bye, keep training, you're doing great, bye.